Alright, I want to talk to you about percents and decimals and fractions and converting them in crazy percents like 130% and 0.1%. But before I do that, let's talk about place value. This hopefully is a review. But if you don't know your place values, it's going to be really hard to convert between percents, decimals, and fractions. So, try this on your own. Try to see if you can identify what the place values of each of these digits here. You can pause the video if you want and do that right now. And I'll actually go over the results. You just hit play and it'll be ready. So the 9 signifies the ones place. The 5 right there is the tens place. The 3 is the hundreds. That 8 right there would be the thousands place. There's the 10,000s. After the 10,000s would be the 100,000s, and you can see the value of the numbers are getting bigger. And then the millions place, and we don't have it here, but 10 millions come next, 100 millions come after that, billions, and so on. Down on this end, the numbers actually get really small. You have tenths, you have hundredths, thousandths, and then this place right here is the 10,000ths place, if I can actually pull it up. It doesn't look like I wrote that one. But that would be the 10,000th place. So keeping all that in mind, convert the percents to decimals and fractions. Well, percent means out of 100. So literally what we can do is take off the percent sign here and make this 25 over 100. And that is pretty much all you have to do when you're converting percents into fractions. And since it's 25 hundredths, if you know your place value well enough, for a decimal point, we would just write 0.25. And if we were to reduce this, you could divide both of these by 5 or by 25. That's the greatest common factor, 25. So that's equal to 1/4. This is where it gets a little bit more confusing, 125%. Number one, you're not used to hearing that number, 125%. And number two, well, what happens in terms of making it into a fraction? Well, in terms of the number 125%, we'll deal with that later on, but a lot of times you'll see that at companies when they have sales growth, or maybe a basketball player's scoring a few points a game, then all of a sudden he scores 10 points or 20 points, something like that. You'll have more than 100% gain in points scored. So just worrying about the number itself and not worrying about how we got there. 125, well, percent means out of 100, so we would make this out of 100. And as a mixed number, this would be 1 in 25 hundredths, because 100 goes into 125 one time, and there is 25 left over. So to write this as a decimal, well, 25 hundredths is 0.25, and now we just got to remember to add in the 1 there. And of course, this fraction can be simplified to 1 in 1/4. Now we have 0.25%. That's less than 1%. You can see the 0 right there. That means this is going to be a very, very small decimal and fraction. Percent means out of 100. So if we have the 0.25 here, that's going to be out of 100. Now to make this into a fraction that makes a little bit more sense, I mean, yes, this is a fraction, but it looks weird with the decimal there. We would multiply this by 100. Just sliding the decimal along will get you to multiply it by 100. Now it's 25, and since I multiplied this by 100, I have to multiply the bottom part also by 100. Otherwise, it wouldn't be an equivalent fraction. So you're going to have 25 over, and 100 times 100, there's 4 zeros there. That equals 10,000. We would just write in the 4 zeros. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So to write this number as a decimal, well, 10,000ths place, as we saw over here, that's this digit right here, the 2. So you're going to have to draw in 4 digits after the decimal. That's going to be 0, another 0, and then, like we said, we need 4 digits. There's the 2, and there's the 5. 25 10,000ths. And of course, this fraction right here, I'll reduce it because I run out of room up here. You can divide them both by 5. You'll get 5 over 2,000 if you do that. And actually, you can divide them by 5 again. And if you do that, you'll get 1 over 400. And that answer, 1 over 400, makes sense. We said this is less than 1%, right, at the very beginning. 1% is 1 over 100. So a smaller number would be 1 over 400. Just a couple other examples here. Hopefully you're getting the hang of it. Try these ones. Pause the video. See if you can try them on your own. I'll put the answers up in just a second. So this one here would just be 305 over 100. Once you make it a mixed number, it's 3 and 5/100ths, which is 3 and 5/100ths, right? As a decimal, we got to add in a 0 there as a placeholder because this is the hundredths place where the 5 is written. And then in simplest form, I kind of did a bad job writing this too, but it's 3 and 1/20th. The common factor here between 5 and 100 is 5, so we get 3 and 1/20th. This one here, 0.3%. That's less than 1%. It's going to be a very small fraction. So we put it over 100, since that's what percent means. And this is the tenths place that the 3 is in. So I multiplied it by 10 to make it a whole number. And now it's 3. And then 100 times 10 is 1,000. So we read this number as 3 thousandths. And as a decimal, we got to go over 3 places, right? On our little place value here, we saw that the third place over was the thousandths place. So that makes this the third place over, 3 thousandths. The last one's kind of simple. 7% means out of 100. Well, you're done after just writing 7 over 100. That's all there is to it. And as a decimal point, we write 0 in front of the 7 because the hundredths place is the second one over. Last thing I want to go over is converting fractions and decimals into percentages. This is 6 and 2/5 right here. We've got to make this into an improper fraction. So it'll be 32/5. And remember, percent means out of 100. So we want to get this to something over 100 instead of something over 5. So when I made it something over 100, I multiplied the 5 by 20. So I have to multiply the 32 up here by 20 as well. And if you do that out, you're going to get 640. Now 640 over 100, we're not done, even though the hard part's done. We still have to write this as a percent. So as a percent, this will be 640%. This one right here is a fraction. I'll show you 2 ways. There's a shortcut too. 15 over 10,000 would be this number as a fraction. And of course we want to get it over 100, so it would be a percent. So how do we get from 10,000 to 100? Well, if you look at, we've got 4 zeros here, 2 zeros here. We've got to get rid of 2 zeros. The way we do that is dividing by 100. And since I divided by 100 down there, I divided by 100 up here. And this will equal 0.15 over 100. So it'll be 0.15%. And if you want to put the 0 in front, you can do that as well. We know it's less than 1%. You could have also, cheap little trick here, multiplied by 100. Multiplied by 100, you just slide the decimal over. So we'd get the same thing in a lot less time. Try these 2 problems right here. Pause the video, see if you can do these ones, and I'll show you the answers in just a second. This one here, it would just be 0.7% if we slide that decimal over. And of course, if you wrote it as a fraction, it would be 7 over 1,000. And we want it over 100, right? So to get it over 100, I move this decimal over. And I have to move this decimal over as well. So that's how we get 0.7 over 100, or 0.7%. This one here, it's not really written as a fraction, it's a whole number. So if we put it over 1, now it's a fraction. And number on the bottom here would be 100. So if your sales increase by 3 times, or your points in a basketball game goes up 3 times the amount it was before, you've just had a 300% increase. 300 over 100 is 300%.